Welcome to Vietnam Vets Speaks Out. This channel was inspired by Oliver Anthony and Deion Sanders. Now give me my theme music. Welcome to my channel. I want to thank you for subscribing. A lot of people have recently. And I want to thank you for watching my videos, liking them, and commenting on them. You have no idea how much I appreciate it, and I am amazed that so many people want to see what I have to say. And I also want to thank you for sharing it on your social media accounts, because I don't have any social media accounts and never will. So I'm relying upon the people that watch my videos, letting other people know about them in order to get more traffic. So I really want to thank you for doing that and let you know that I deeply appreciate it. Today I want to talk about something that I saw on a Well-Off Media video. If you don't know who Well-Off Media is, it's Deion Sanders Jr. He goes by the name Bucky, and he records everything that's going on up in Colorado on the football team. And today he was recording part of the morning meeting that Deion has with his players. And this is right after they got their butts whipped by Oregon in a real serious thrashing, 42-6. And the score really wasn't reflective of the game. Oregon totally whipped Colorado in all three phases of the game. Offense, defense, special teams, completely, absolutely whipped them. The score could have been much higher, but they took their foot off the gas in the second half. I don't know why, but they did. You know, I never played football except for a brief period of time when I was a walk-on in college, and I tried out for running back and got injured and decided that wasn't for me. So I don't know a lot about how teams work and the psyche of teams and those sorts of things. But something that's always bothered me is when you see a good team play a lousy game. And that's what Colorado did. People have lots of explanations. They'll say that Oregon just played really well. But I think it was more than that. I don't know what was going on in the minds of the Colorado players. But they were not into that game. They weren't playing hard. They weren't going after the ball. They weren't really trying. I don't know if the quick scores that Oregon did took the wind out of their sails or what. But, you know, Deion constantly preaches consistency, 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 and playing the game hard regardless of the score. Overcoming adversity, being resilient. He talks about all those things constantly. And you would think at some point it would get into the heads of the players. But apparently it hasn't. But there is one player on that team that I know for sure would have played his butt off the entire game. And his name is Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is considered by many to be the best football player in the NCAA today. He plays both ways, defense and offense. He's a top receiver. He's a top cornerback. He's an athlete that some call once in a generation. And he plays every game with vigor and with strength and with consistency and reliability. You can count on Travis to play his position to the ultimate for 60 minutes. Every time they play a game, he texts Deion in the morning about 6:30 and says, "Let's go." Just 2 words, "Let's go." That's Travis's frame of mind. Well, today in the team meeting, Dion was talking about some of the characteristics that I just mentioned: consistency, reliability, accountability, the things that were in short demand or short supply in that game against Oregon. And at one point, when he was talking to the team, he got out his cell phone and he read them a text, and I want to play it for you.
Let me text you. Let me let you read this. I'll read this to you today. I need to play this week. We need to get everything we can so I can get back on the field. I'm not taking no for an answer.
Now, the next thing he says is, who do you think said that, or wrote that?
Who you think sent me that?
The immediate answer from the whole team: Travis. They know who sent that text. Why do they know? Because Travis gives his all the time, in practice, in games, in life. He gives his all 100% of the time. And he sets an example to that team, an example that some of them aren't following yet. And they knew immediately who sent the text.
Did you know that? Because what? No, you ain't ready, and I care about you more than I care about this game. You're going to change the game of football one day when you're healthy and ready. Your future is brighter than mine ever will be and ever was. Relax and get healthy. I love you, son. That was the conversation.
That's just incredible to me. That's incredible. It brought me to tears. Because two things. First of all, because of Travis's commitment. He's at home because he has a lacerated liver. And yet, he wants to get out on the field and play, when he knows darn well he'd be risking his future health. But that's how bad he wants to play. That's how much he loves the game. And that's how much he loves his teammates, and that's how much he wants to help. And Dion's answer: nope, ain't going to happen, because your health is more important than a football game. I don't understand how people can criticize Dion. I know he's loud, he's flashy, he comes across as arrogant because he believes in himself and in his abilities. But if you get to know the man, he has a heart of gold. And as he said in his response to Travis, he's never going to risk a player's future when they're injured by putting them in the game too soon. That's the reason why he sat Alton McCaskill for the first 3 games of the season and didn't play him very much in the 4th game. Because Alton had an ACL tear in his freshman year, or the spring after his freshman year, and was out for a year and had to rehab. And then he came to Colorado, and Dion was not going to put him in a game until he knew he was 100%, until he knew that Alton was not going to be playing injured and risk serious injury. That's just who Dion is. And that's who Travis is. If Colorado could get 71 more players just like Travis, nobody could defeat them. They would go undefeated the entire season. National championship, everything. But they don't have 72 players like Travis. They have some. They have players like Shedeur and Shiloh and Trevor, and there's some others, but they don't have the players across the board that will stand and fight like Travis does. And until they do, they're going to suffer more defeats like this, where they get their butts whipped because their heads aren't into the game and they don't have the talent to play on talent alone. And that, to me, is the biggest tragedy of football, is players who have tremendous talent but do not dedicate themselves to the game. They play on their talent until their talent no longer lasts because they're worn out. And then they have to quit. When they could have been so much more than what they were if they had just dedicated themselves and fought hard to become even better than they already were. I pray that Travis has a speedy recovery, but I also pray that he doesn't get on that field until his liver is healed and there is no risk of re-injuring or further injuring his liver. I know how bad he wants to get out there, but now is his time to sit back and just relax and rest and let his body heal. I pray that you and your family and the people that you love will be healthy and prosperous and live a long life. I pray that God blesses you in every way. And most of all, I ask that you not be anxious for anything, but in all things, with prayer and supplication, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace that passes all understanding will keep your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. This is Vietnam Era Vet out.